Hello and welcome to Flow Sports coverage of day 3 of the Sol Rally Barbados, where, as you can see, well, the crowds, they've come out in force out here on the stages and they're set for an exciting day. The whole event has been high octane and incident packed from the off this year, with some of the bigger name drivers not quite making the starts they would have liked. Here's Rich Nichols with the story.
Yes, it all started here in the darkness with only 2 minor dramas. As Simon and Jean-Joseph got a penalty for jumping the start, though this first one was flawless and fast. And he was even quicker the second time around, fastest again through this 2-kilometre special stage at Bushy Park. Owen Evans jumped the first start big time, going on 0 when he was meant to go on 15 seconds. That's a fully honed instinct for a rally driver, and his reflexes kicked in, but Michael Fennell told Jeffrey Panton to stay in place and wait as the seconds ticked away, and that was the right thing to do. Difficult when Evans was fully committed in the stage. The faster he goes now, the better for when the penalty is applied, obviously enough. Panton's patience brought him just reward, a 3-second lead over Kevin Proctor, with Rob Swan close behind, Roger Mayers 4th, and a slow starting Sheriff 5th, Simon John-Joseph 6th, despite his penalty. Saturday's a new day though. Evans first on the road, trying to claw back his 10-second deficit from 9th place. This was a full-blooded WRC-style attack from Evans, the quiet young Welshman who said he was only here to enjoy himself and the result didn't matter. Oh yes, that's right. Panton was on it, straight out of the box, pummeling the stages with the focus and looking to increase his lead, which was pretty much what happened as the day went on and the margins started to look more and more comfortable. Jean-Jo was on it from the start as well, as Panton knew he must be, but a couple of lurid moments gave Panton a lead that looked unassailable by the time the day was over, although the attacking drive had moved the man from Martinique up from 6th to 2nd place. Rob Swan had a solid day on the stages and stayed 3rd, keeping himself ahead of Evans as he moved up the leaderboard, but then ultimately not matching the ferocious pace of the WRC regular towards the end of the day. A slow start on Friday and a couple of stages this morning, but now Roger Skeet was also stepping up his pace. The black Subaru looking seriously fast on roads its driver knows very well. Kevin Proctor's brand new Fiesta looked good and went well on Friday night, and he emerged from Bushy Park in 2nd place, but as day 1 went by he was drifting away from the top of the leaderboard. Josh Reed was P7 starting this morning and underlined his speed by staying there all day, while Roger Mayers, who had been 4th overnight, dropped back to 6th. This is the leaderboard at the end of day 1 then, 14 stages complete, and Jeffrey Panton with what is, by Rally Barbados standards, a commanding lead. Owen Evans now up to 3rd place.
So great driving from many yesterday, but it was Jeffrey Panton who proved to be number 1 once again, maintaining his overnight lead. And just as soon as they're all done in driver's briefing, I'm going to try and grab a word with him. So Jeffrey, here we are then, start of day 2, another big day for you, and there's 3 of you at the top at the moment, quite close at the leaderboard there, all in the 38s on the timesheet. You've probably got to work quite hard to stay at the top.
Yeah, we do. After lunch yesterday, we were able to put down some stage wins, fortunately. Either our pace went up or his pace went down, one or two, but we were able to put in some stage wins and put a little more time on him, so it gives us a little cushion for today, but no backing off for sure.
So Simon, strong driving from you yesterday, sees you still running up near the front, and people got their eyes on you, Jeffrey, saying that, you know, you're really pushing him.
I tried, but unfortunately we had some issue. But okay, that's the way it is. That's the sport, you know. And I'm still very motivated. We'll see today. You know, it's very nice stages. We're going to do our best, try to enjoy it, and I already look forward for next year.
So, Elfyn, some strong driving from you yesterday. I've seen you claw your way up through the timesheets, and you're now in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be in the top 3. I think you know, we had a great battle with Rob yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, I think he had some problems in the evening, which is a shame. But I think today the stages are a bit faster, so they suit them boys a bit more, even still. You know, we still have a job to do to keep them behind.
So, Roger, here we are. It's the start of day 2. Any changes on the car for you ahead of today?
Not really, no. It's pretty much the same. Just going right through it and make sure that we don't have too many more issues. And everything that we've had is as a result of small incidents, you know. So we're okay.
So, Rob's still doing well at the start of day 2. You're in the top 5, but there was a problem towards the end of yesterday.
Yeah, we had a problem with the car towards the end of on the last loop. So we managed to rectify that, but it cost us a bit of time. So most of the time we worked out what it was, and it was only something silly, got it fixed, but the time had gone on the last loop, so we were just keen to get the car back to service and finish the day.
So it certainly sounds like everyone's going to be pushing hard from the off today, but they're going to have to if they want to catch Jeffrey Padden out in front. Join us after the break when we'll be going rallying. Hello and welcome back to Flow Sports coverage of the Sol Rally Barbados, where, as we just heard before the break, a lot of the drivers are going to be pushing hard from the off today, but they're going to need to if they want to catch rally leader Jeffrey Padden. 51 kilometres, 10 stages and a hugely expectant crowd is what the drivers have got to look forward to today. So let's go join Rich Nichols now as we take a look at the first 3 stages.
Yep, 3 stages in the loop, another run of 17 kilometres before service, and all this stuff around Drax Hall, Tappy Pond and Padmore is a lot more open than yesterday and a lot faster. Jeffrey Padden's job now is just rolling along on the pace, not trying to overdo it, and try to grow his margin as the morning gets into gear. Trick is to find yesterday's pace right from the off and find the balance and rhythm which served him so well all day Saturday after he'd nailed it first thing. And he's doing it again this morning. Fastest on the opening stage, 13, a lucky number for him, and again on 14 as well, piling on the seconds and growing his lead in immaculate form. Padden at his best, absolutely in control at the front. And this is second place. This is Simon Jean-Joseph. He's 36 seconds behind Jeffrey Padden starting the day. And now he's a man on a mission because Padden did such a good job yesterday and it looks like he's doing it again today. But all that became irrelevant after the opening stage of the morning when the Focus hit diff troubles and Simon Jean-Joseph was forced to call it quits.
Simon, we're seeing you back here in service a bit earlier than we expected. What happened?
Unfortunately, at the start of stage 1, we broke the diff, so game over. That's it.
Obviously must be hugely disappointing for you, but you seem fairly philosophical.
No, you know, we had a difficult weekend anyway, so nothing we can do for that. It's just experience. We never stop learning. I think we had the pace. We showed that we can go fast, but many small things happen, and then it started to be not what we were expecting. So that's the way it is.
Third place starting the day, Elfyn Evans, 8 seconds behind the now absent Jean-Joseph, and so now he's second, and the only gap that matters is the one to Padden. 45 seconds starting this group of stages, but Sunday's loops are going to be much tougher on the Fiesta than they will be on the bigger cars, especially the one ahead of him. 4th place, and after a day when he couldn't get the Subaru launched, Roger Skeet was 60 seconds off the leader and 16 behind Evans. But the Sheriff was back to full form today, and he didn't need to change the settings up to Mad Mode 3. He was looking like his usual self again. These wide, fast stages suit his style of driving and the car. The Sheriff is a dangerous opponent, but he's got too much ground to make up by himself, and like a lot of other people, he's hoping that the men in front will have their own problems during the course of today. Rob Swan, 5th place, starting just 1 second behind Skeet on the leaderboard. So this is shaping up to be a decent battle between the Imprezas. But then Swan lost 40 seconds on the first stage of the day when he ran wide on the very last corner. Gentle little impact, but the question is, did he hit anything solid when he went over the curb there? Roger Mayers, well placed to benefit from all this mayhem. He'd been 6th, 35 seconds behind Swan, so now he was 4th, passing the stranded Subaru as he finished the stage in his usual flamboyant style. And Swan crept out of the ditch to get going again, clattering away. That could be cane stalks or anything underneath, and hopefully no serious damage there. But on the final stage of the loop, the car was clearly in big trouble. He crept through the 5.8 Ks of Padmore, pulling over to let everyone else by. He was almost 2 minutes slower than stage winner Roger Skeet and dropped to 9th. Josh Reed was flying. He'd been 9 seconds down on Mayers at the start of the day, but he was an incredible 3rd fastest on the first stage. And after 3, he'd narrowed the gap to 5 seconds, and he was still going strong. Roger Duckworth, another one who benefited from the problems ahead in terms of overall leaderboard position, but he'd lost a little bit of time to the dueling starlets ahead of him as they battled for national honours as well. And a 23-second gap was now 29. Worse still, the stages seemed to suit Kevin Proctor and the Fiesta rather better than Saturday's, and he was getting closer, shaving a couple of seconds out of the gap as the morning went on. Behind him, Dane Skeet started the day in 10th place, and obviously now the beneficiary of a 2-place promotion thanks to Rob Swan and Simon John Joseph. 11th overall, Rhett Watson still going strong in the BMW. These are the stages he was most looking forward to and he expected would suit the big BMW well. And Jim McKenna was the best placed of the multitude of Mark IIs on this event. 15th at the end of a loop he probably enjoyed more than most. Here's your top 6 then, and we've lost quite a few names you can't see, as well as the ones you notice are absent from here. There are some little dramas building up as well for later on.
So, high-octane excitement as always this morning here on the Soul Rally Barbados, but commiserations to Simon John Joseph. That rear diff problem means that he's out for the rest of the rally. Join us for more of the same when we come back. Welcome back to the Flow Sports coverage of the Soul Rally Barbados, where, as we just heard before the break, sadly Simon John Joseph is now out for the rest of the rally. Jeffrey Panton, though, well, he still is dominating from the front of the pack. Let's go rejoin Rich Nichols as we pick up the action.
And the action now is the medicine as before. It's the same clutch of 3 stages again, a bit more than 17 clicks, nearly 7 miles in old money, with a 3rd loop after lunch for those who are still hungry for rally action. Panton leads them away, and you can't do this sort of thing on autopilot or cruise control. But if you could, that's what Jeffrey Panton would be doing now, as he starts this second trip through some of the rally's best known and best liked stages with a very useful lead of 45 seconds. He's probably got a puncture in his pocket or even a little spin if he needed it, but he doesn't have to be on the limit now. And you could tell right away, because it wasn't his name at the top of the timesheet on the first of the 3. SS17, and he was a casual 7th quickest. But he was bang on it on the next stage, top of the timesheets again. Past the spectators outside Bushy Park, round the mound where they all congregate for a day-long rally party. Elfyn Evans is the man closest to Panton now, but he can't make up 45 seconds in 35 clicks unless Panton does have a problem or makes him a present of it. So his job now is to pile the pressure on, keep Panton honest, and hope he can persuade the Jamaican to try a little bit too hard. These are very short stages, not a lot of mileage. You think it's easy to win back a few seconds, but it's the hardest thing in the world. Once you've given away time, even on the super special, where it shouldn't really count, it's almost a lost cause and you're on the back foot as soon as you go rallying. Roger Skeet, third place, less than 4 seconds behind Evans, so you can't help thinking that's where the pressure's going to be coming from between now and the midday halt. And sure enough, it was Skeet who halved the gap on the first run of the loop, and he won the stage to put himself 2 seconds ahead after the second. Mad Mode 1 doing a fine job. The Sheriff won the opening 2 stages of this loop. SS16 by 2 seconds from Panton. SS17 by fractions of a second from Panton. And now it looks as though they're on the way to a close finish for the third and final test. Still trying to get over his earlier issues, Rob Swan has made a bit of progress. Though he's not going to get the podium finish he wanted, he will get a top 10 result out of this, and that's not really bad considering how much time he lost with his little problem earlier on. He's got a lot of it back, and he's got a lot of position back as well. Now more than a minute behind the Skeet and Evans battle. Roger Mayers and the big wing starlet were still locked in mortal combat with class rival Josh Reed, but Mayers gained a couple of seconds more on the first stage of the loop, feeling better about keeping his position locked in going into the next 2. Cutting the corner, throwing the back out, pleasing the spectators on the mound. This is such a popular class here. Here comes Reed though, more than 7 seconds behind Mayers now. He caned his starlet through the 5.5 Ks of Tappy Pond and more or less shared the stage with Mayers, but he's still 7 down, starting the last stage of this run before lunch. Low cloud, threatening rain, but it's baking hot here. WRC2 runner Roger Duckworth probably oblivious to all that ferocious valve bouncing going on ahead of him. He'd been doing well to hold off Kevin Proctor first thing, but the gap was 1/10 of a second now, and it looked like he would be losing a leaderboard position before lunch. Proctor must have thought it was doable too, and though he was going hard, the gap only shrank from 11/100ths of a second after 17 to 10/100ths. He'd gained 1/100th of a second over a 6-kilometre stage, and now you know that this is just not as easy as it looks. 41 seconds further back, Dane Skeet was a solid 8th, but he'd got Rob Swan behind him in an Impreza, and he was finishing every stage faster than Skeet now. And worse than that, Skeet was finishing behind his super modified 2 rivals, Reed and Mayers, and he was getting further behind the clash of the mini titans. But here's the top 6 at the halfway point of the day. Panton, the best part of a minute clear of Elfyn Evans, but look how close Roger Skeet has got in 2nd place.
Well, the fans here in Barbados really have been treated to some amazing action this year. Join us after the break when we'll be finding out who'll take the top step of the podium in the 2016 Soul Rally Barbados. Welcome back to the closing stages of the 2016 Seoul Rally Barbados. We're down here at the final service. The drivers and the teams are getting their cars prepped and ready to go for one last time. But all the driver and the team behind me has to do is keep it on the road, and Jeffrey Panton then should be able to retain his title. So Jeffrey, just a few short stages away from taking the top step of the podium. You're going to be able to keep it together for the final push?
I certainly hope so. We've come a long way, so 3 stages left. We have a little clutch issue, but we've checked and double checked and rebuilt, so hopefully we're good for the last 3.
It's that same loop of 3 stages ahead, and all Jeffrey Panton needs to do now is maintain, keep it clean, and keep his winner's crown.
So here we are then at the grand finale of the 2016 Seoul Rally Barbados. It certainly has drawn a grand crowd indeed. An interesting and fun special stage tonight where all the drivers have to do is start the stage to end the rally, and they'll be racing side by side, wheel to wheel, entertaining the crowds. So that means for one man, Jeffrey Panton, if he can do that, then he's going to be crowned once again the 2016 champion.
And look at this, the rain we were worried about has arrived, but it hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of the crowd, nor of rally winner Jeffrey Panton, nicely ahead of Roger Skeet, it's Elvin Evans third, and Roger Mayers fourth and first in class. But this is Jeffrey Panton's big day.
So Jeffrey, huge congratulations. We've been asking you all day if you could hold your nerve, and the simple answer is you did.
Yes, I did. We still had a clutch issue throughout the day. We weren't able to get it repaired. It was still giving trouble, but it was enough to get us to the end.
Obviously you've won the rally, but all in all, a hugely exciting and a hugely enjoyable experience once again.
Definitely. It's always good competition here. The rally atmosphere is amazing here, and we're always happy to come back.
So Roger, here we are then at the end of another Rally Barbados. You're not on the top step of the podium, but you are on it. Tell us about your weekend.
Well, I mean, we knew it would be difficult. As I said, after such a long time out of it. But after Saturday, I think we pretty well gave away a lot of time, but we were still doing the times. But it was necessary then to come Sunday and do the job properly without making any more stupid mistakes.
So huge congratulations once again to Jeffrey Panton, all the other class winners and indeed podium finishers. But that's all we have time for today from the 2016 Seoul Rally Barbados. But don't forget, you can join us on Monday night for a full review of the whole event. But for now, from all of us here, until then, see ya.